Hello everyone, welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the solution for count pairs whose sum is less than target. So without further ado, let's get started with this problem. Alright, so let's read this. Given a zero-indexed integer array, nums of length n, and an integer target, return the number of pairs ij, where, of course, essentially this simplifies to if I and j are valid indices, such that I is going to be less than j, and nums at index I plus like nums at index j, the sum of that is going to be less than target. So there are two test cases here, but we're going to take the first test case for the diagram. So if we input nums, it's not an array in the actual problem, it's a list. So the list consists of -1, 1, 2, 3, and 1, where target is equivalent to 2. Now, since this isn't a sorted list, we cannot utilize the greedy algorithm. But what we can do is O of n squared algorithm, since this is an easy problem. So if you see, there are three solutions. There are three pairs of indices that satisfy the conditions in the statement. So 0, 1, 0, 2, and 0, 4. And again, we need to count the pairs whose sum is less than the target, not less than or equal to. Let's take the second example. The second example has nums with -6, 2, 5, -2, -7, 1, -1, and 3. And then the target is -2. So we need two numbers from the list that will add up to -2. So there are 10 total, 0, 1. And again, these are all just the indices, not the actual numbers themselves. And that's 0, 3, 0, 4, 0, 5, 0, 6, 1, 4, 3, 4, 3, 5, 4, 5, and 4, 6. And that's going to be it. Let's do a demonstration on how we'll tackle this. This is going to be one of the test cases. So nums is the name of the list. We're kind of treating it as an array here. This is a list of 4 elements, so let's get into it. So since we are iterating through every element, and since we're picking two numbers, any two numbers, we want to do a nested for loop. So that's why I have I and j. J is going to be the inner loop that's going to change, because j will be the first one here. So we need to add num0. So num0 is going to be -1, and nums1 is going to be 1. So that's going to be 0. So we're going to add to the solution right now, but we're not done yet. We still need to check all the elements. The inner for loop j will increment by 1, so now it's at 2. So 2 is going to be, so num0 is still the same, num0 is -1, and nums2 is 2, that's going to be equivalent to 1. So that's going to be another pair. Next, -1 plus 3. So I'm just going to copy paste for the rest of this. So that's -1 plus 3 is 2. Now 2 is not less than or equal to, so let's move on. 4. We can go ahead and replace this with the 4, not 5, because that would be an out of bounds. And then -1 plus 1 is 0. And there we go, we just finished one iteration of the outer for loop. Now we're going to increment this loop here. And notice here that I is always going to be less than j, so we're going to set j to be less than, sorry, like 1 greater than I. So yeah, that's going to be it. So now we're going to look at nums1. Nums1 plus nums2. 1 plus 2 is 3, so that's not going to be it. I'll copy this line because we're going to have index 1 always, then nums2 and 3. This j will move on there. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 is not less than the target. And then 1 plus 1, yet again, is 2. So right here, 2. And now we're going to go ahead into number 2 here. Notice that this problem gets shorter the more we go. So 2 plus 3 is 5. So nums2 plus num3 is 5. Yeah. And then 2 plus 1 is 3. 2 plus 1, yes, that's going to be 3. So 3 is not going to be less than the target. Now let's go into 3 plus 1. So 3 plus 1 is going to be 4. So, which is not going to be less than the target here. Oh, my bad. I kind of forgot. This should have been this should have been a 3 here. So nums3 plus nums4. There we go. And then that should be nums4 as well. So basically we're kind of going in a pyramid schema. Now let's go ahead and do it in code. So let's go ahead, get this off full screen so that we can actually put this in full screen here. So to actually make this bigger, we can actually do Control plus. So now let's actually go ahead and do the problem. So count pairs. So we're going to make a nested for loop for I0, I is less than. To access the size of the list, you're going to do nums dot size, parentheses, since size is a method. And then to increment I, we need I++. And then inside the nested for loop here, however, oh yeah, you are going to be doing it n-1 just to save a lot of time. Just to save some time, you know. It'll be much better. And then for int j equals, now j will always be I+1 at the start, and j is going to be less than nums.size. And since we're accessing the last element, and then j++, the index will always be incremented by 1. And we start at 0 because list indices, like arrays, start at 0. Before actually just going inside the for loop, let's make some variables. So we need a sum. Okay, we need a count actually. So now we're going to do an if case. So if nums I plus nums j, this whole operator is going to be less than, this whole sum is going to be less than target, then we're going to increment count, and that's going to be it. Return count. Let's try and run it now, see if we're on the right track. And turns out that we have a compilation error. Alright, wait, I sort of accessed it wrong, not gonna lie. I'm just so used to doing like Python and all for some reason. Alright, nums.get. Alright, so it's get. My bad. So, looks like our first case is accepted, and looks like our second case is accepted too. So let's go ahead and submit it. And we get accepted here. So if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And don't forget to turn on notifications for another video. I know I haven't really been uploading in a while, but I'll get back in the groove, trust me. Anyway, alright, bye everyone.